Steve, one of the chants, we don't want PCR testing, we want freedom. This has at least been in part addressed for Shanghai and Hangzhou.
Yeah, that's right. So as of today, Monday, in Shanghai, you will no longer need a PCR test, a negative PCR test to use public transport or go into public venues. Also, other cities like Hangzhou, which is just further to the southwest of Shanghai, also an economic powerhouse, the home base of Alibaba. This is in addition to many other cities that are, I would assume, taking new marching orders from Beijing to ease back a little bit. Now, I understand China pretty well, and I understand as well through this pandemic and COVID-0, when the marching orders came down from the most powerful leader, let's face it, Xi Jinping has consolidated more power since the days of Mao Zedong. And when he basically said you must implement these COVID-0 policies, the various municipalities took that to heart, and perhaps, as we saw with the frustration mounting last week with a number of different protests, it just reached the boiling point. And some of these local municipalities went perhaps too far. But again, they were probably watching the success, if you want to call it that, in Shanghai, which was under a brutal 2-month lockdown. And guess what? The Communist Party chief of Shanghai, Li Qiang, gets promoted to the premier. He will become the premier, the #2 ranking official on the standing committee as of March when the National People's Congress meets. So he was rewarded for that 2-month lockdown in Shanghai. So again, there's been mixed signals, but now clearly, because Hangzhou, Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Zhengzhou, iPhone City, Wuhan, Lhasa, Kunming, Nanning, Harbin, and many more are all starting to loosen their COVID restrictions, including relaxing some of those PCR test requirements.
Well, Steve, at the very least, getting public acknowledgement from Beijing, there has to be further opening up now.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not necessarily getting Xi Jinping coming out and saying that directly. I'm going to loosen my keystone or cornerstone policy, and that being COVID-0. But essentially, we're hearing from the likes of the European Commission with Charles Michel, who met with Xi Jinping on Thursday. And European officials have said that Xi Jinping have basically acknowledged that the dominant strain of COVID now in China is Omicron, and essentially that is less lethal, and therefore perhaps some relaxation could happen. It would be, if confirmed, the first public acknowledgement from Xi Jinping that there is an argument to be made to loosen the restrictions, because the argument to date has been we can't allow loosening up of these restrictions because of the lower vaccination rate among the elderly and the like. So again, there is a shift, and we've seen 6 prominent economists joined together in a joint report posted on WeChat over the weekend, including Huang Yiping, who is a former advisor to the PBOC, essentially saying the top priority now of the nation must be economic recovery. And right now, in the beginning part of every December, is the Politburo meeting where they set the economic and priority agendas for the next year that will be unveiled in March at the National People's Congress. I'm sure economic recovery will be at the top of that list. And that must include, most people agree, further relaxation of COVID-0.